Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to Detroit and Belle Isle as the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors returns as part of the Weekend Warriors doubleheader here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Tim Cox, Samuli Kume in the Virtual Protection trailer, and Charles Bashar will be joining me very shortly. First off, let's have a little run through the championship standings. Let's make one first of all. An intriguing championship that has claimed a different winner from each of the rounds so far. But it's Chris Schukabanka, who's yet to have a win this season, who leads the championship by a slender margin of 10 points. That lead cut down thanks to the win last time out from Jason Green. Aero Nom climbing up into third there, but still a little bit adrift of the top two in front of him. Michael McConnell, he's fourth and well and truly cut adrift by some nearly 70 points there, with Jeff Jacobson in fifth. Harris Ball, who's our winner of our first ever race this season, Hendrickson in eighth, and Overstreet and Rodriguez running out your top 10 there. Heading across into Spec 2 now, and this has been an intriguing fight between Trenton Kramer and Chris Montgomery, with the latter leading the championship. They've been trading wins all season long, and who's going to claim victory here today? Will it be either of them? With Paul Stevens lying third in the championship, Tim Staino fourth, Jimmy Littbacker into fifth, then it's Payne, Lorio, Fernandez, Guard, and Ferris to round out your top 10 there. Finally, into Masters class, and well, Yugmani has won four of the opening rounds, with his lowest position this season being second in class, and to boot as well, he's been on the podium 3 times overall this season, and that's why he's got a commanding victory over Antonio Race, who's also finished on the podium overall as well. That was back at Mosport in round, well, technically 2, but also round 4 due to the Christmas and New Year break. Allegasius just starting to move away now, this business end of the championship. He's nearly 40-50 points behind Antonio Race. Then Chris Murakami in 4th, with Walbolt, Cathcart, Ray, Nelson, Brewster, and Love to round out your top 10 there. Charles Bashal, welcome along. And, well, we've been chatting about this, and producer Smurley as well, before the show, whether this could be treacherous, could be instant filled, or we're in for an absolute barnstormer. I'm more, you're, a glass half full kind of guy. I'm going more half empty. I've just got nasty flashbacks from the past of big pileups from what, realistically, with it being a street circuit, doesn't take a lot for you to cause a big incident.
You're absolutely right, Tim. It does not take, it takes very little. And yeah, I'd like to be optimistic. I think we've got a really good field of drivers. And we see it week in and week out with this group, with the Weekend Warriors. But this track is, you just have to be so precise. There's not, you can see grass on the track, or around the edges of the track, I should say. It's really not a lot of room for error. You have to be very precise, and that's going to be the kind of the key word for today. Is you have to be, your precision has to be very, very good. You have to take the corners. There's a couple of good spots for drafting and passing. We've got the front straight, and then I guess what we would call the back straight. But you need to have that pass done and completed, and then back in line before you get to that next corner. Because that next corner is just, it's, as you're seeing it there, is a 90-degree right-hander on the back straight there. And the front straight's almost a chicane. So it's passing's going to be at a premium today. So obviously a good qualifying time is going to be your best friend, and then it's just avoiding other people's mistakes, because there will be a few. I do hope that we have a very clean race, but yeah, it's just like I said, it's a very difficult track to tame. I've driven the GT3s around here quite a bit, and it's not a lot of fun when you get home.
No, it's most certainly not. We've got 5 minutes left in qualifying. Simon Ball leads the top of the timing tower at the moment, your provisional pole sitter. Jason Green, there he is, currently lies in second, just a tenth separating himself from pole and Kabanka. Some 9,000ths of a second behind him. Antonio Race just moves up to 4th there. Top qualifier in Masters now, with Overstreet and Marnie right behind them. Then we've got Aero Nom down in 7th. I've seen him in the wall a few times in practice and in qualifying, so I'm clearly struggling to get to grips with this track and this car combination. I mean, we talked about those walls being so impending. Well, just mention, sorry, Paul Stevens, there he is, top qualifier in Spec 2. Need to mention him as well, so it's a crucial part of proceedings. But yeah, I mean, I was saying to you before the show, wasn't I? You need around this track, ideally, a nice solid setup that's easy to drive, it's predictable, it's grippy, it doesn't slide around too much. But these cars love to slide, so it could age you. I think this is where, you could see, to use an old phrase, it'll separate the men from the boys, as the old phrase goes, in English phrase, in the sense of, the fast drivers, I see them really breaking away and getting away and opening up a big gap versus, maybe drivers who don't feel as confident. I think we could see, them falling by the wayside. But equally, this is the beauty of the street circuit, where you can just, all it takes is one incident, and all of a sudden you could actually gain lots of places. It's so such a unique and weird combination, this, and I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are some, tire barriers here and there, and it's basically in areas where you would basically be just driving too deep into a corner. But a lot of this is just concrete barrier. I mean, so if you hit this barrier, you've damaged the car. I mean, there's no question. You're not going to be one of these where you can just kind of wall scrape and get away with it. It's going to hurt the car unless you get lucky and find some tires, and even then, there's still not a lot of room for error. But yeah, it's one of those that you're right. This car slides a lot, which is another reason you need to have passes done quickly and cleanly, because once again, you get side by side with another car, and then you're at the sometimes you're at the mercy of iRacing netcode. And we know that as you go through corners, the netcode kind of the tolerances get a lot smaller. So, or I should say, the cars get a lot bigger as far as contact patches. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. This is be one of those. If you look at the If you look at the qualifying order right now, the highest rated Spec 2 driver is P13. So as you to your point, the people with a little less experience, a little less maybe driving ability are obviously going to be falling much further down the order. So it will absolutely make some big gaps in the field.
I'm just keeping an eye on Christian Kabanka's lap, Charles. He went faster than anyone in Sector 1, just gone faster than anyone in Sector 3. Just about to close out his lap. There we go. Producer Smoothly got it. I think this could potentially be a supreme time. There you go. Sticks it on pole late on, but next up we need to keep an eye on Jason Green, because as much as Kabanka went fastest in Sector 1, Green went faster again, but no improvements in 2 and 3. Needs an absolute mammoth final sector here to try and put it on pole, or even just get himself onto that front row of the grid, with Simon Ball being in the pit lane. As he cuts the timing beam, let's see what it was. And then it's the exit, but it's not registering a lap time, so I'm guessing that must be a lap time deleted, but he can go again. Must have kissed the wall somewhere around there. Now, your Marnie's gone fastest of anyone in Sector 2. And an improvement from him, but he remains down in 6th place at the moment. It's a real hive and a flurry of activity. We've got Antonio Race produced smoothly on fire once again. Personal best sectors 1 and 2. No improvement in Sector 3. Kabanka's gone fastest of anyone in Sector 1, and with a personal best in Sector 2. All is dead and buried, isn't it, qualifying? But all of a sudden, it's all kicking off here.
Yeah, everybody kind of getting a little more comfortable with the track and what the car is going to do, and so you see the qualifying times ramping up.
There you go, Kabanka, new personal best in Sector 4. What's it going to be in Sector 5? Is he going to throw it away, or is it going to be extending his lead at the top in qualifying? 900ths of a second is how much he's leading Ball by, and he goes faster once again to nearly 2/10 faster. The Ball's best lap. Dom across the line. Well, oh, that's good enough for second, and Ball, who's in the pit, didn't take part in the latter stages of qualifying, demoted down from pole position to the second row of the grid.
Yeah, you have to be out on track if you're gonna try to improve. Otherwise, people are going to jump you in the qualifying order, and just to kind of hammer that point home. Normally we would see we'd have 30 cars or so out here on track. Only 21 drivers have decided to brave the race today, and we only have 8 cars within a second of pole, which is just bizarre for this group.
It is, isn't it? But it's that big gap as well. You look at Harris in 9th. He's a second off the pace, and then it's 3/10 margin between himself and McConnell, who's only 1 place in front of him in 8th. It's the first time we've seen it. I mean, normally, if we said 2 seconds was covering the whole field, of which we tend to have a slightly larger grid as well, you think, oh, that's a bit of a slow day. I mean, today it's even a larger disparity. You've got, I think, David Scott's the lowest of the qualifying times in 21st, and he's about 4 seconds off that pole time. And well, but as we said, it all depends what happens in the race. Really, you could just start from the pits, trug around the back, make up a ton of places where you just play it safe and just go for a little bit of a Sunday drive, a bit of a pootle around. To use another British phrase there for you.
Yep, absolutely. This could be a very interesting. Obviously the first lap's going to be critical. So we'll see how this all goes, and I think that'll give us the tone for the race.
And talking the race, here's how they're going to line up. Kabanka on pole, Nom with him on the front row. Then it's Ball and Green on the second row of the grid. Then it works out to be an all-Masters third row with Race and Marnie, our top 2 in the championship, lining up next to each other. Overstreet is next to McConnell, the all-American row 4 of the grid, with row 5 in the top 10 being ran out by Benjamin Harris and Dana Bowes. I think for Dana, that's the best qualifying of the season for the Canadian. Chris Murakami is next to fellow Masters driver Andrew Love on row 6, while row 7 sees top qualifier in Spec 2 Paul Stevens next to Jim Brewster. Ray and Laurie are on row 8, while row 9 is Brad Cathcart and Gary Warbolt. Trenton Kramer, disappointing qualifying, many may say, from him. Second in the Spec 2 Championship. He's on row 10, next to 20th place, John Toms. David Scott, the last driver to set a time in qualifying, starts 21st next to Jeff Jacobson. With Tim Stainer and Matthew Gard and all Spec 2 row 12. And to complete the grid, neither of those, of course, setting times in qualifying, neither did Jacobson. So everyone's just lining up behind the Porsche 911 safety car right now. Oh, deep breath there. Well, yeah. This is either going to be a wild first lap with a lot of incidents, or this is going to be clean as a whistle. I don't feel like it's going to be no middle ground, but I mean, I'm fascinated by that battle up front, Kabanka versus Nom on the front row. How that pans out into, well, turn 3 realistically.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's going to be I agree with that. No middle ground. It's either going to be awesome or it's going to be terrible. I'm hoping for awesome, obviously. I think it's going to be a really good race if we get through this first lap cleanly. In the battle up front between Kabanka and Nom, Ball shows some good pace as well. Green as well, because he's going to be trying to fuel save where he can. So there's going to be lots of different strategies play out during the course of the race.
Safety car in. As we are green and we are racing here from Belle in Detroit. They're going to find out into turn 1 through the chicane. Jason Green just coming under a bit of pressure there from Antonio Race. Overstreet looking to throw the move right around the outside of Marnie as they all make their way through turns 1 and 2. The race down to turn 3. Everyone jockeying position 3-wise. I think there might even be a bit of a 4-wide in the background there as they settle things down. The top 3. One behind each other, but then it really stacks up. Lots of 2x2s into 3 for the first time. That's the only grass section on this entirety of the track, and just everyone playing it safe these early stages. Although saying that John Toms has had a bit of an incident, he falls down through the order. But looking at that, I mean, no major gains so far. I mean, up 2 places, Laurie, Kramer, Jacobson, and Gard. But other than that, I mean, no big gains for anyone today.
Yeah, and no big losses either, and that's the important thing, right? So we've still got all the cars still on track, 24 of them still racing. We had a couple of people that just dropped a spot or two as we see this battle. Oh, that was close. I don't know if he scraped the wall or not. Stevie Ray there, looking at him, because that's what I was saying earlier. You can't really go too wide through the corners here without lots and lots of cooperation with the other driver.
Making the way through. I mean, it's going to only get more and more treacherous as this race carries on. As there's Antonio Race, and that's your first victim of the day. Around he goes. Oh, and also someone of a sympathy accident. Is that Brad Cathcart? Yes, it was.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Suspension.
If he didn't have damage before, he does now. So so he'll be trying to limp his way back around to the pits and get the fast repair.
So here's what happened to Antonio Race. So he headed down to 7. Wait, he just got that bump, didn't he, from Marnie, who had nowhere to go, couldn't get out of the move, and then Cathcart, while in too deep and having that sympathy accident into the water. Then, there's realistically had to use the wall to try and help him steer, because arrived at the next corner, went to turn. Oh, Nom's on. Something's happened to Nom. Something's happened to Kabanka as well. They've come together, Charles.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me, as they were battling on track, and so I think we're gonna see a replay here, and of course Samuli right on it. Kabanka coming around the corner. Nom right in his tracks. And just lost the rear of the car. Yep, and obviously nowhere for Nom to go. As we said, this is there's not really a lot of room for to try and avoid drivers here on this track, and especially when you're that close.
How much damage has Kabanka got? Another thing as well, if you have to pit for damage at this early stage, that's it. It's realistically it's game over, because you're gonna have to pit again. 3 minutes already on the clock so far. You're gonna have to stop again, aren't you? So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of. I don't think you can fuel save that much. But however, it does get you out in clean air, so you might can make up some of that time um, just from being able to run clean laps with no traffic. So, for those fast guys, they might make up a few seconds just from being in the back by themselves.
Overstreet fastest lap so far last time around. Now harassing Jason Green. Two Americans going to war here because Simon Ball, that was a little bit dicey there, just watching the rear end of the car step out for Green and, well, had a bit of a margin, not a lot, almost cigarette paper style stuff, but Simon Ball checking out here, able to pick up from that incident where Kabanka and Norm came together. So, is that 2 seconds clear? And, well, the way that Overstreet looks like she's not hanging around here whatsoever. I think this gap could potentially just grow further and further, although as I say that, they then make up about a 10th on Ball. So, what do I know?
Yeah.
Something's happened to Trenton Kramer as well. He's falling down through the order.
Oh, he is indeed. Oh, okay. So he took the escape road. That was very smart. He just like he maybe missed his braking point. So we'll get a replay on that as well. So we see Kramer coming down. This is the kind of the back stretch of the track here. And just caught the car and said, you know what? I've got this escape road. Very well done by Trenton to not hit anything and was able to turn around. And it's important for him. Oh, as he slaps the wall there. It's important for him because Montgomery is not here tonight. So, it's a chance for him to make up a lot of points, but he's got to keep the car on track and keep it clean.
Some may say, I may wonder, should he have played it a lot safer? But it was embroiled in that great little battle there with Jim Brewster. It was. See Overstreet just losing a place. That's Aero Norm, who's a bit of a man on a mission right now. Bit between his teeth after collecting Kabanka. Fastest lap last time around by some margin as well. And now trying to progress his way up through the field. Overstreet already picked up. Next up is Jason Green, who's, well, target fixation right now. Did he spike the wall there on the entrance to the corner?
It definitely looked like it. You really can't, it's so hard to tell sometimes with, everybody, being remote to the server. So you don't know. Sometimes that little bit of scrape, you may hear it and not see it, or see it and not hear it, and then the next thing you know, you may be sideways. So it just you never can tell sometimes. Sometimes the margins are too fine.
It doesn't help the suspension on this really squeaks and creaks, and sometimes you think someone's made contact with the wall when they haven't necessarily. It's just the suspension creaking and getting under the response to the bumpiness of this track. And well, here we are on to lap 5 now, and Ball extending that gap at the front 2.2 seconds. Marnie leading Masters, he's 5th, with the podium being Murakami and Love 8th and 9th respectively for those two. Stevens still leads Spec 2 with Kramer up into 18th, second in class, and 19th for Dana Scott. So yes, no apologies for Scott even. Getting my Canadians mixed up there. It's David Scott, of course.
So overall, it's been a pretty clean start to this race. We've had some, obviously we've had the issue with Kabanka and with Race, but and then Cathcart with his mistake as well. But considering where we are, only losing 3 now. Of course, obviously Kabanka and Race, they're in championship battles, so it's a big detriment to them. But for the most part, Race has been pretty clean to start.
Oh, Laurie into the wall there. Another victim. So let's see exactly how this one unfolded for Tom Laurie. Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, okay, that was even bigger. That's a prior incident then. That's a big old clatter.
Yeah, he caught that inside curb and it just kind of kicked him across the track. That's one of the other issues that we'll have to deal with for this race, as well as the spec racers coming up after this, is those curbs are sometimes very unkind to you. You have, like I said, why precision matters. You've got to be able to get right to the edge of that curb and trying to avoid at least the higher ones.
I was just having a little look to try and find some correlation in previous results here for a useful stat. Although that hasn't worked, of course. We visited Oran Park early in the season, another track which no longer exists within the real world. Of course, the Detroit circuit been moved back downtown, and well, so far Oran Park, it was Marnie who took the win in Masters. Well, he's on cue to do that. Montgomery in Spec 2, he's not with us, and Hendrickson won in Spec 1 and overall. He's not with us tonight, so definitely a great big shake-up of the Masters, of which Marnie on that 3-win streak so far, looking to make it 4 wins in the row. Antonio Race had 3 second places in a row in Masters, but, well, that one's not going to happen tonight. He retired on the opening lap so far, our only retiree, as oh, this could be a bit brave. Everyone very, very close together here. Jeff Jacobson comes out in front of it.
Yeah, I think he slapped the wall on the exit of that corner as well. Looks like the car's okay, but definitely did not look like the right line coming out of there.
There's been a few incidents, notably like that lorry one where he really clattered the wall. The car seems to be able to take a bit of a beating okay, which surprises me, seeing as though, you know, you've got exposed suspension. You know, being a single-seater as well, normally not the best at that sort of situation. There's Kabanka making his way back through. Stevens, he's had an incident somewhere because he's fallen well down through the order. He was running about, what, 12, 14, somewhere around there. When he came into the pits, he wasn't leading. So his Samuli's clearly found something. This is where we're going to witness maybe a clatter of the wall, what caused it. Oh, that's a lot of curb on entry.
Yeah.
Car looking really, really skittish. I don't know about how you feel about it, Giles.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Yeah, it just, I don't know if it was well, I think it was a combination of the car looking skittish, and I think he was just not quite on line. As we see Tim Staino with a spin. I can't tell if he hit the wall or not. Car looks like it's tracking straight.
I think it's okay. I didn't hear a clatter. I heard the tyres go, but I didn't hear a clatter of the wall. So I think, fingers crossed, he's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as we go back and talked about Stevens, as we see Kramer off to the side as well. He's had a couple of those where he's just kind of spun the car, you know, had to stop and avoid hitting the wall, which I guess is probably good enough. Right, like we said, you know, he's in the championship battle, so with Montgomery not here, every point he gains is going to be that much closer to being in the championship lead for Spec 2.
There's Ray into the pits. Also, Benjamin Harris came in as well. Came in from 8th. As there goes Kabanka up another place. He's into 14th now. But this is, I think, probably the crucial part of things, isn't it, really? You know, actually, no, he never stopped in the end, despite that contact. And the car clearly, I mean, there's been a bit of a bent-up driver's left side pod. Other than that, I think it's okay, as there goes Overstreet. So Nom has passed Green, and Green now passed by Overstreet. Marnie looking to inflict a bit more misery onto Jason Green, who's downgraded himself from 2nd to 3rd to 4th, and it could even soon be 5th here at this rate.
Yeah, just, you know, my guess is Green is, you know, we talk about him just week in and week out. He's, you know, he's run into a number a lot of times, no, not always, but a lot of times he's run into a fuel number to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You know, it may be that he's doing that same thing again, and he's saying, okay, I'm not gonna push too hard. Obviously, and it could be just a combination of just this track as well. Maybe just not the most comfortable on here, which I can completely understand because I'm never comfortable when I drive this track. So it could be a combination of those two things. So yeah, he's dropped a couple of spots. Nom is slow, is quickly closing that gap down. It's 1.7 up to Ball. So we'll see, you know, once he gets there, what's he going to be able to do. And then, of course, now Monty is in a position of where he can make a make a much bigger lead in the championship battle with Race, because of Race's apparently DNF. Looks like he's done for today. So we'll see what happens with that as well.
Also, Michael McConnell remaining in touch, and as predicted as well, this top group really broken away. The gap back to Murakami, who's in 7th. 6 seconds, as that was a collapse of the wall. I'm not sure if it's Marley or Green, but one of them had a good collapse of the wall there on entry.
Yes. Yeah, it's just so, you know, I think it's going to be a recurring theme. Is, you know, the precision you need to drive this track. And yeah, it looks like the cars are handling it much better than I thought they would. Because we've seen it where they just have wheel-to-wheel contact with each other, and then you've got a broken front end, and you have to go to the pits. So for them to be able to do hit the wall, maybe scrape the wall a couple of times, you know, may bode well for the race. And then, of course, you know, maybe the next time they do it, you know, that may be race over.
So it's a lap 10 now, 15 minutes complete, 25 to go. Drivers will still need to take a pit stop. And in that lead group, was one enforced at every single race. So far, everyone has not stopped, down to Matthew Garden 16th, who's starting on the back row of the grid, up into 16th now. And then Harris, who's 17th, the highest driver who has stopped so far. As mentioned, only one retiree, Antonio Race. And then we have got Tim Staino after his early incidents. He is still going, but a lap down on nearly the whole field. Trenton Kramer, leader in Spec 2 second in Spec 2 Championship, all the way down, 22nd for him.
Yeah, but he's already made his pit stop. He stopped early, so he stopped the lap after Stevie Ray officially opened the pits. We'll say it like that. And so he's already got his pit stop done. So now he can just run his pace and then pick up spots as the rest of the field does their pits. And we'll see how where it ends up. Like I said, he's you know, every position he gains is going to be, you know, that many points he makes up to Montgomery. Like Tom's mad caught the wall a little bit there on the exit. We were looking earlier at Murakami and Love, and you know, Andrew Love's had a good run as of late. You see him battling Murakami for P2 in the Masters class. Seems like he's improving his driving over the past few weeks, and he's turned out with some good results.
Ball bolt into the pits, and it's watching Love just trying to queue up a move here, filling the mirrors of Murakami. And I always struggle with this circuit, Charles. Well, this on Long Beach, or any street circuit and any other simulator.
Oh no.
The leader, that's Simon Ball.
It was. And
he was leading by 2 seconds as well.
Yeah, the Overstreet just nowhere to go on the outside. See Ball coming through. Yeah, a little bit of curve, but managed to hold it there, and then just lost it. It's kind of a flat corner and backs up into the wall. It then pulls forward, and that's where Overstreet just, once again, nowhere to go. You know, not really anything Ball could have done, I don't think, any differently. There's just no room out there. That corner's caught a few drivers out already in this race.
There's a bit of a bump on entry, Charles, and sometimes you just catch your downshift a bit, that, you know, in the wrong moment. Mm-hmm. It just unsettles and unnerves the car. Let's have a little listen in. It's just about here-ish now. You see it, that little rise. Yeah, there you go. Just downshifted into it. Bit of lift off the oversteer as well. And there goes Nominee Bar. Absolutely nailed by Overstreet. I mean, I'm not sure even if he had remained where he was. As Overstreet and Ball into the pits. Now they'll get home on this. This is not all lost for them.
No, no. This is an early pit. Maybe if they had a different strategy in mind, that probably took that out of the out of the equation. But yeah, definitely can get home. So didn't really, it cost them some time on track, but didn't really hurt them in the grand scheme of things. They should be able to come back out. As we see Overstreet coming right back out with Tom's. So she'll just kind of tuck in there, get a little bit of a draft, and then she'll start looking for a way around at her first opportunity.
Oh,
Stevie Ray. Oh
no. No. That's lost drive.
Yep.
It's a lot of revs and not a lot of momentum forward. Wow.
That's bizarre.
And everyone bites the dust here at Belle Isle. Oh, yeah.
That'll mess your gearbox up right there for sure. And the back end first, and you can see the left side rear just kind of bouncing. And so yeah, I think that's probably day done for Stevie, as he's already set his toe. So he's headed back to the pits, and we'll see if he comes back out or if he just goes in and gets prepped for the next race.
There's great pitch there from John Toms, just in the background of shot as he sort of hit that bit of the wall there on the exit out of 8. A short run straight between 8 and 9. So, I think SitRep, as we're halfway through this race, Nom leads now, only by 9/10 of a second to Jason Green. Marnie on for another 3rd position overall. Obviously leading Masters. McConnell, he's onto the podium, which I believe could well be his first time this season in Spec 1. Well, I'm looking at the wrong championship, but there we go. Yes, that could well be his first. Yes, it will be. In fact, if McConnell can hold on to that one. Murakami well down the road, though. He's second in Spec 2, still battling with Andrew Love for that second spot in Spec 2. These guys now 9.6 seconds behind our lead group. Dana Bose for a season best result in 7th, Brewster into 8th. They've got Kabanka and Overstreet, 9th and 10th. Both those two, well, no, sorry, Kabanka yet to stop. Overstreet has stopped, so she's still not fully out of the running, although has lost a lot of time due to that connection with Simon Ball, who's, after pitting, now down to 13th place. As for Spec 2, Matthew Gard leads Spec 2, although he's yet to stop his 15th overall. Then we've got Paul Stevens and Trenton Kramer, who have both stopped. 17th, 18th overall for those two. In terms of time difference between the pair of them, about 4, 5... It's about 3 seconds, sorry, between the pair of them. No, apologies, yeah. It's more than that, it's 5 seconds, sorry.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't seem like that, Nom's running good pace, but he's not really checked out from Green. The gap's only 1.4, and then Monty's just another half second or so behind. So it's not like Nom is just setting the world on fire, and you just don't know if maybe he is, maybe he's just not pushing as hard as he as hard as he could. Maybe he's just saying, maybe I just might want to be a little extra cautious at this track. As well as, like I said, we talked about it. You got to be focused. As soon as you lose focus on your markers, then the wall comes up quickly. So yeah, so far, and just Overstreet's down. She's only going to be, I think, maybe 4 or 5 seconds off the lead once the pit cycle's done. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So she's not out of the battle just yet. Obviously, she's going to be a little time before the rest of the field comes around and pits.
Having said that, though, Charles, Norm is picking up the pace a little. He's pulled around another 10 just since you've been speaking over Green. So clearly finding a little bit more rhythm. But, of course, it's the curse of the leader. So far, whoever's led this race has ended up crashing out. Kabanka, first of all. Then it was, of course, the turn of Ball. Will Nom suffer the same fate? I mean, can lightning strike? Well, it struck 2 times. Can it strike a third here?
Yeah, that's one of those you just don't know. Oh! That was weird.
It's
almost
cut back in and then
like,
locked up.
Yeah, it's almost like I think Love had the run and was going to get by Murakami, and then all of a sudden he broke, and then Murakami didn't. It's weird. As we see this, he's got the good run down the straightaway, gives him plenty of room, and then Murakami sets in behind, and just, I guess, a mix-up on where they're braking, and a little bump in the rear. Slowed Murakami down just a little bit, but I don't think damaged either car because it was kind of a nose-to-tail bump, so it doesn't look like there's anything. They can just like they keep going and finish off the race, but just kind of a strange way the way that looked when we initially saw it.
But the only thing I can think of is maybe Love just got out the throttle onto the brakes a little bit earlier. Yeah. Obviously, with no Murakami knowing he was the driver's right, and then Murakami decides, nah, took back in, concede the move to Love, and wasn't expecting him to brake as early and take it easy into the corner as much as what he was, and so allowed it. Andrew Love into the pits. Now, he did clatter the wall between 7 and 8 on that little straightaway. So I'm wondering whether that's part of it. Down the bows into the pit lane as well. Early stops, well, normally by the series standards, on 25 minutes. That's another new lap. Fastest lap of the race, sorry, for Aero Nom. 36.49, although Green responding with his personal best of 36.55. So 600ths of a second separating those 2 last laps between our top 2.
Yeah, it was, Nom sets the fastest lap of the race, but then Green basically matches him within a 10th. So, he's picked it up, and Green said, I'm going to try and come with you. So I think Green's doing, obviously, a great job of just trying to keep him in shouting distance. So, because, like I said, you never know if that lightning strikes that 3rd time. Green's in a good position to capitalize on it, as you see the gaps there. With Monty just kind of trailing Green. No, I'm coming through here. Yeah, you see he's just kind of sliding and just kind of catching the slide at the exit of the corner. I don't think I'd want to try this, just to be fair to him. I think the GTs are bad enough. I don't know that I'd want to try and make this car go around this track.
When I made the comment about lightning striking, well, for a 3rd time potentially, I was thinking, well, when we get rain next season, trying to drive around here in the rain, or even just a mildly moist track. That'd be great, fascinating for us to be in the commentary booth, but I can reassure you that's where I will be fully and firmly remaining. I wouldn't want to be on track for that whatsoever.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, and it's I'm sure you've heard the same thing as everybody said that we want rain, we want rain, we want rain. I think what I've told all the drivers on my team is, you say you want rain now. The first race you get in with rain, about half of you are going to change your mind, just because it's going to be, it's going to be a bit of a culture shock to them, and because there are going to be lots of drivers who will be able to adapt, and some of them that won't. And so it's going to be, the rain is a nice effect, but then you're going to have lots and lots of drivers who struggle with a clean dry track, and then you put them on a wet track, and they can't even make a lap.
Well, yeah, because you're going to have to completely change up your lines, and to add reinforcements to your point about people maybe not wanting rain once it's come along. Just think, how often do you see per season, whatever series you follow, do you see a wet race? Once? Twice?
Yeah.
So I know iRacing gets mocked for not having rain, but actually, it very realistically, due to where they're held, circuits and even F1's global, it's always in the warmer part of the year as Green just finding a bit of the grass there. So realistically, I mean, is it actually necessary to have rain?
I can't argue with that. Good. That's there's a and I'm gonna change this up to just a little bit of a NASCAR track. But my home track is Barber, but my home NASCAR track is Talladega, and the area they built the track is called Dry Valley, and there's a reason they built the track there. It's because it doesn't rain very often in that little section of the world, and so obviously none of the older races will have rain in iRacing because they don't run in the rain as a general rule. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at one of the last 2 or 3 Daytona races where it rained in one small section of turn 1, and about half the cars went into the outside wall. So everybody says, yeah, we want rain
Charles,
because we want it. Oh,
look,
sorry,
he's into the pits.
Yeah, no, I'm just here rambling as we're getting pit stopped by the leader, and yeah, so we'll see what his pit time is, and as we start coming in, those people who had to take early pits, we're going to see where they end up and how much they have, how much room they have to make up to get a decent result here.
Murakami in as well. Green, Marnie, McConnell all stay out. Also yet to stop Kabanka, Brewster and Toms. That is it. Seems strange and weird to be saying that as we reach... Oh, we did reach the half-hour mark exactly now. So, yeah, not out of the rounds, but still, so many people taking earlier stops here.
Yeah, I mean, well, we always talk about Stevie Ray being our first pitter. When the pit window opened, he's in. He didn't pit until like the 11 or 12 minute mark. So maybe the fuel usage here is a little more than we would think, and so the late pitters won't be out as long as normal.
So Nom came out of the pit lane in 4th, just in front of Kabanka, about 2nd and a half in front of him. I mean, wow, Kabanka hadn't had that coming together. With Nom earlier on. I mean, where could those two have potentially been? There we go. Green, Marnie into pit road. McConnell follows them in as well. Surely you're going to expect to see Kabanka and Brewster in this lap to boot as well. But have they done enough to try and cut that deficit to Nom maybe, or even leapfrog over him? It's their box taking on fuel. There's Kabanka, there's Nom just whizzing through in the foreground of shots. Kabanka going to come in? Yes, he is. So he's in. So certainly going to see Brewster, I would imagine, in. Yeah, 31.5 minute mark. I mean, that's still quite deep into this race. There's Green on pit exit. Yeah, he's done enough. He's ahead of Aero Nom. Oh, but Nom's got the pace. He's got the momentum. Can he do him down into turn 3? I think he's a bit too far back. And I think Green is just remaining staunchly defensive in terms of his line. Just covers it off, puts it in the middle of the track here. Nom trying to really open up the corner, but as Green goes defensive once more, making it ever so difficult for the Estonian to try and pick him off, to try and make his way through. And I think he might have just about done it, Charles. If he can just hold him off here for these next couple of corners, I think he should remain in first.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be this long straightaway. It's just what kind of run can Nom get versus Green? I'm sure he's going to try and stay on the defensive line. And so if Nom can get enough run to get clear, then he'll take over, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it.
And this is where it's the defense. Oh, and he saved it, and Nom didn't collect him either, and he still remains in first. Jason Green put it all on the line, fighting for his life, fighting for the win here, trying to make it 2 wins in a row. I mean, also Nom finishing 2nd twice in a row after last week at Rudskogen. But if you put it in the middle of the track, Charles, it is so hard to pass around here. You've got to really nail your run out of a corner to try and get the jump on the car in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very difficult to pass here. So Green's stoppage time on the pit was 1.2 seconds faster, which wouldn't have been enough. But he also made up another 1.2 seconds on pit entry and pit exit, which was enough to put him in the lead.
Marnie, he's in with a shout as well. Look, you know, only 8 seconds behind them, but here comes Norm up the inside. Could this be for the lead? Green's going to have the momentum right around the outside. They still remain side by side, but I think the Estonian's going to just edge in front, and yeah, he shuts the door firmly in Green's face. Well, we've got 6 minutes to decide this one. I genuinely don't know who's going to get this one. They're all on top of each other.
Yeah, this is not over with yet. Green's firmly in the slipstream zone of Nom, so he's going to try and make this as difficult as possible, and Monty is going to get involved in this as well.
Trying to hang it right around the outside, looking for the switchback is Green, looking left, looking right. He's like a boxer, isn't he? Yeah, he's ducking and diving and dodging. Whereas Norm is trying to play that defensive game, you know, he's got his fists up, trying to protect his face right now. As Green, it's time for him to inflict the punches onto Norm, whereas the opposite way round, this time last lap. But don't discredit Marnie. What's he got to try to sneak his way through here? And McConnell's catching them as well. He's within 9/10 of a second now.
Yeah, as long as they keep battling up front, that's just going to invite McConnell up into this battle as well. So, you know, Nom's able to just kind of eke out like a half-second gap. See if, as we see a car, lap-down car off to the side. Is that the 905?
Yes, Tim Staino just exiting the pits, I think. No, it wouldn't have been. I
think it was Cathcart.
Yes, it is. Yep. Well spotted. Nom dips onto the grass there. I mean, as much as he is pulling away, he's eked out about a 6/10 gap here over Green. As we've seen, all it takes is just one little mistake, and that's it. Ooh, that looks a little bit twitchy on exit there for Nom. Not sure whether it's a bit of a tank slapper or whether he did just tap the wall a little bit.
Yeah,
just look at the way he's nearly a second clear. He's not hanging around whatsoever.
No, he's definitely not. And so now the question is Monty going to be able to make a move around Green? Because he was able to make up that gap as well. So if he can get by Green, maybe he's got a chance to get Nom. So we just have to wait and see.
Luckily, we don't have too long to wait. Only 4 minutes left on the clock. Well. So, McConnell closing in once more. But he's got a bit of an eyes on the prize here for a second place. So, you know, or even just to get onto the top 3 overall. Of course, Marnie occupying that one. If he can hold on to that one, Marnie will be his, well, not only his third win it'll be his 4th win in a row in class, but it'll be his third place position overall in a row. Of course, last week at Rennsport and 2 weeks ago at Willow Springs for the Swiss driver. But McConnell's closing in. It takes another 3 attempts of Marnie onto this group as Nom onto the grass once more. But luckily, those off-track physics where they've been changed, that doesn't make a difference anymore. Of old, that would have chewed you up and spat you out straight into the wall on the right-hand side. Now, I think she's a bit of an extension of the track.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you know, before they had that change, the grass here would have been like hitting a patch of ice, and then the next thing you know, you're backwards into the wall. It's just how tight those are. They're trying to just eat as much of that curb as they can, and they have to be very careful. Obviously, especially with those, you know, the flatter curbs you can kind of get away with. The ones that are at an angle, you see they're kind of want to kick you across the track, and that's where you run into problems.
The gap now 1.3 seconds, but Nom has built up over this last course of the last 2 laps. As he checks out here at Belle. So they're going to start their penultimate lap. 2 minutes left on the clock, and it's fastest lap of the race for Aero Nom, 1:36.46, and it's half a second faster than Green. That gap now to 1.5 seconds, but is Nom pushing it too hard? What's Marnie got? Does he make the move on Green? I mean, round here, I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? It's easy. It can be easy to defend, but you try and leave it for the last lap and then defend for your life. I don't know what's going to be the best tactic. Certainly don't know what Marnie's thinking whatsoever.
Yeah, I think Monty's thinking, all right, is he holding me up? And if he is, I need to get around him and see if I can stretch that gap. I don't want him in my slipstream more than a couple of corners, and try and get out and see if I can track down Nom. But I think it may be too late at this point. It's going to be if Nom can just keep it clean for the last lap and a half. I think he's got this thing set.
Spec 2, Stevens leads Kramer into 15th and second in class. Well, I say that, has just taken the lead, or has he? Kramer on the right-hand side, well, yeah, he's well and truly through. So, what an eventful race Trenton Kramer has, and it looks like he could be actually now walking away with it.
Yeah, great recovery drive. Yeah, he, obviously, he's been really, really good as of late, obviously, with being second in the championship. He's had some really good results, and I think he did a really good job of not, we got slow. Sorry.
Yeah, he's running, she's smooth saying he's running slow, and he definitely is, isn't he?
He definitely is. I wonder if he's had damage somewhere along the way that he's not able to keep up with Kramer, but, not taking anything away from Kramer. He's done a great job just to recover from the early incident.
Well, Stevens, his season best was the third place at Oran Park, and maybe just trying to play it safe, knowing there's not long left on the clock here, and now comfortable for second in class, and maybe wants to walk away with that one rather than risk it all. He's hit the wall. Oh no.
Yeah, he's got a 22-second gap to guard for P2 in class. Just needs to be able to keep the car around. He's got another lap to go, and he can take that. He can take that podium.
No, he's going to come in. He's going to come in, and that's surely going to cost him second in class, and God will take it. Somebody saying maybe fuel as well. It could possibly be because he was dawdling along down the back straight. Yeah. So yes, pit stop was 12 seconds. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a splash in Nash to get himself home. As Marnie still onto the back of green. This is now our final lap. So yeah, definitely our final lap. Checkered flag out. Nom's going to take the victory here. And on the run to the line, Jason Green's going to hold on to second place. Marnie going to finish third overall for the third time this season. And the third time in a row as well for him. Stellar result to extend his lead at the top of the championship, especially with Antonio Rice second in the championship, retiring on lap 1. Kabanka, I mean, what a fight back from him to finish ninth. Yeah. That's not a shabby result either.
Absolutely not. No, it's a great run. Just to, it's rough when you have those early ones, the early incidents, but he's really done a good job. Get back up in the top 10. At least get some decent points out of it. Maybe not what he's expecting, starting up front, but it was a good job just to try and recover it.
Looking at it now, there's Trenton Kramer is going to win Spec 2. Well, 14th overall, that smaller grid here today, really, that's going to help him.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Especially with no Montgomery here, so that's looking strong, looking good for him. As Jakeson, 2 tenths at the line to finish ahead of John Toms. Jakeson might be a bit disappointed by that one, 15th overall here today. Well, I take Stevens is only 2 seconds. Gets across the line, 2 seconds ahead of Guard. There you go.
Well, he was able to hold it, so that's great. It's what we were looking at earlier. But he had enough gap. He had enough gap to still finish second on in the Spec 2 podium, as well as Guard getting a P3, which I think feels like that's his first podium.
That is his first podium. It is indeed. So it's the season best for Stevens, and Guard's first podium as well. I should take you through some classified results. So Aero Nom Victor here today, first driver in Spec 1 to make it. Well, no, sorry, he said the third victory of the season, wins at Willow Springs and Mosport previously. There's only one round this season that he hasn't finished on the podium. That's round 1 back at Watkins Glen. Jason Green second. Marnie, as we mentioned, winner in Masters again, 4th time in a row for this season for him, and also 3rd time in a row finishing 3rd overall. McConnell picks up that 3rd place in Spec 1 with Overstreet, Ball, Paris, Murakami 8th overall, 2nd in Masters, Kabanka 9th, Andrew Love 3rd in Masters, and Rani at your top 10 as well. Dana Bowes 11th, great drive from Dana there. After a strong qualifying too. Tom Laurie 12th, there's Brewster. Trenton Kramer, your winner in Spec 2 in 14th. Now up in the championship, as we've just been mentioning. Jakeson, Toms, Walbolt, Paul Stevens and Guard. 2nd and 3rd in Spec 2, 18th and 19th respectively overall. Brad Cathcart, first driver lap down, finishes in 20th. Ray, 21st, then Scott. Tim Staino, who despite many issues still kept going in 23rd, despite being 4 laps down in the end. Now, Antonio Race, amazingly, our only retirement. We lost on the opening lap. As always, let's have a quick chat to some of our drivers. Let's have a chat to our winner here today, Aero Nom. Aero, congratulations. I mean, when you saw, well, first of all, obviously, Kabanka lose the lead and then Simon Ball lose it. It must have lifted a bit of weight off your shoulders and given you sort of a bit of confidence about victory for here today. Seems that it is so hard to pass around here.
There was no confidence because it was so close, especially the first one. I did hit him, so it's so hard to get past if the leader crashes in front of you like that. And the first one, I went in the neutral, so I couldn't find the gear, so it was terrible. But yeah. I think 3 times it happened.
I mean, that first one you mentioned about Kabanka, the contact that you made with him, but you had nowhere to go. So it was inevitable, realistically. Did you pick up any damage from it? Because you did seem to really sort of hit him quite firmly.
I have no idea. I don't think so, but I can't be sure. I can't remember in the pit stop if I had any damage, but probably not because it didn't slow me down. Just my setup was a little bit loose.
Well, I mean, congratulations. I mean, 3rd victory of the season. I mean, coming into, really at the business end of the championship now, and surely this is going to really give you confidence coming into these final, 4 races have we got left remaining?
Yeah, I have to practice again. This week I did a little bit more practice, and I knew the track, so yeah.
That makes life a little bit easier. Well, congratulations, you're a winner here today, Aero Nom. Charles, well, tradition aboots, your Kamani for you.
Hey, Jorg, congratulations. Class win, P3 overall. Had a couple little incidents that kind of shook up the championship battle there at the start of the race, but it kind of cleaned up pretty nicely. Did you have any particular struggles on the track today?
I think so, and I think you've seen it as well. I mean, I think I scrapped the walls a few times, I guess, but I'm always said I just want to survive that race. I did not attack anybody. I got really lucky on the start, and but still, I'm still happy that I survived. That's all I'm happy about.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my next question. Was you were right behind Green after the pit stops? Didn't look like you were just really aggressive. I didn't know if you felt like you had enough pace if you got by him, if you could get away, or if it was just one of those where it's just too tight of a track to even try and make a move.
I actually tried, but then I messed up turn 2, so I had to lift again there, and it's impossible to pass anywhere else than that. So
yeah,
that's the only place to pass, and I messed it up every single time when I wanted to move on. But I'm happy I survived. That's good.
There we go. Your congratulations. We'll see you in the Spec Racer race.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Good night, guys.
Next up, finally, we've got, well, after an eventful race, Trenton Kramer joins us, winner in Spec 2. I mean, Trenton, we were talking, bigging you up, coming into the race. A big day for you. No Montgomery here. Real chance to make up lots of points in the championship, especially with a smaller field. And I mean, surely, at certain stages of the race, you didn't think you'd walk away with victory here today in Glass.
Yeah, I hopped in about 40 minutes into the practice session and turned my first lap on that track, and it's not a forgiving car to try and learn a track on when you've got a lot faster drivers around you. So I was just kind of hoping to survive, and we only had, I think, 3 people in S2 today, so it made the goal a little bit easier, especially with Chris taking a day off. I thoroughly appreciate that, Chris, if you're watching.
Definitely. I mean, it's talking about, obviously, try and learn the car. This car's sliding at the best of times anyway. Are you trying to make changes to the setup to try and make it a little bit more predictable, or are you trying to keep it as sort of as normal as natural handling, where you're trying to learn the course so that at least you had a constant rather than a completely different style setup to what you normally drive?
Yeah, so I personally like a bit more oversteer than understeer. This track does not favor oversteer because of the fact that there's so many bumps and so much off camber, high grip, low grip areas, and you make one small mistake and you're into the wall. So it's I didn't really, like I said, get much time to run a practice setup to figure out what the car needed in order to meet my standards for my driving style. So I thankfully I had Jason Green on the other end, and he's like, hey, here's a setup, run this, and it was okay. It was a lot better than what I was running. It was a lot more predictable, but I could have probably gotten up into the top 10 even with my misfortunes if I had a little bit more oversteer. But still thankful for him sharing a setup with me.
Well, I mean, it carried him to second, so it can't have been all bad, and it helped you out. And well, in the end, up 5 positions, the win in class despite an absolutely eventful race. Congratulations, Trenton Kramer. That is all we've got time for here for now. Coming up about 15 minutes time on the channel, we are back for the SRFs in Weekend Warriors from Belle as part of this double header. If you also want to watch in the meantime, just going on now on the channel, a little bit of a multi-class endurance. Champion Motorsports IRTES. Make sure you check that one out. Ron and Andy are currently taking everyone through the proceedings of that. From South, Tim Cox, Charles Smuku, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in a week's time for the Formula Fords, but we'll be back shortly for the SRFs here from Belle. See you then. Goodbye.